The massive alien probe hung silently above Earth's atmosphere, its sleek metallic surface gleaming against the darkness of space. Commander Kurlvek studied the holographic screens displaying information about the planet below, his scaled fingers tapping a rhythmic pattern of contempt. J. Park sat in the underground military command center, his eyes fixed on the incoming transmission. The room was quiet, filled with the soft hum of advanced computer systems and the occasional tap of keyboard keys. Around him, other specialists worked with intense concentration, their faces illuminated by the blue-green glow of monitoring screens. The Zentari had been watching Earth for months, collecting data, assessing humanity's capabilities. To them, humans were nothing more than a primitive species occupying a strategically unimportant planet. Their initial reports suggested an easy conquest, a quick campaign that would take mere weeks to complete. Yoon Kim, the lead AI specialist, leaned closer to her screen. Her fingers moved rapidly, decoding and analyzing the alien transmission. "They're scanning our communication networks," she whispered to Jay. "But they don't understand what they're seeing." Outside the command center, the world continued its normal routine. In cities across the globe, people walked streets, worked in offices, and lived their daily lives, completely unaware of the approaching threat. No one knew that humanity was about to face its greatest challenge. Commander Vex decided to send the first communication. The message was direct and cold, a standard Zentari protocol for inferior species. "Inhabitants of Earth, the transmission began. Your civilization is hereby required to surrender unconditionally to the Zentari Collective. Resistance is futile." J. Park smiled. A small, calculated smile that suggested he knew something the aliens did not. The alien probe continued its surveillance, collecting massive amounts of data. They examined human military capabilities, technological infrastructure, and communication systems. What they saw seemed to confirm their initial assessment, a fragmented species with limited technological advancement. But beneath the surface, something was brewing. Military research facilities that had previously competed were now sharing information at unprecedented speeds. Scientific teams were working around the clock, developing technologies that pushed the boundaries of current understanding. Hannah Lee, a brilliant weapons engineer, worked in a secret facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Her team was creating adaptive technologies that could change and respond faster than any known system. They were preparing for a war that the aliens couldn't even imagine. The Zentari believed they were observing a simple planetary conquest. They had conquered hundreds of civilizations before, and each followed a similar pattern: initial resistance, followed by quick submission. They saw no reason why Earth would be any different. In the command center, J. Park continued to watch. Every piece of data, every transmission, was being analyzed, studied, and prepared for. The humans were not just waiting, they were planning. Yoon Kim suddenly looked up from her screen. "They're preparing their invasion protocol," she said quietly. "They think we're weak." Jay nodded. "Let them think that," he responded. The alien probe continued its silent vigil, unaware that its every move was being anticipated, studied, and prepared for. Humanity was not going to be an easy target. They were going to be a nightmare the Zentari would never forget. As the first wave of alien ships began to prepare for their approach, a sense of quiet determination spread across human military installations. They were ready. They were waiting. The brutal truth about going to war with humans was about to be revealed. In cities, military bases, research facilities, and secret locations around the world, humans were unified by a single purpose. They would defend their home. They would survive. The first contact was about to begin. The world changed within hours of the alien transmission. Military bases that once competed now worked together like a single, massive organism. J. Park understood that unity was their greatest weapon against the incoming threat. In a hidden research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Hannah Lee worked with intense focus. Her team of engineers and scientists had been preparing for something like this for years. They understood that traditional weapons would be useless against an advanced alien civilization. "We need adaptive technologies," Hannah told her team. Her hands moved quickly across holographic displays, designing systems that could change and respond faster than any known technology. Each design was a potential game-changer. Yoon Kim's AI systems were working overtime. She had developed algorithms that could predict and counter alien communication patterns. Her team worked in shifts, constantly monitoring and analyzing every piece of data from the alien probe. Around the world, governments made unprecedented decisions. Military budgets were redirected. Research facilities received unlimited funding. Every scientist, every engineer, every military strategist was now focused on one goal: preparing for the alien invasion. David Rodriguez coordinated global defense strategies. He connected military leaders from different countries, breaking down historical barriers and political tensions. The threat was too big for national differences to matter anymore. In universities and research centers, scientists worked on revolutionary technologies. Some developed advanced electromagnetic pulse weapons. Others created adaptive camouflage systems that could blend into any environment. Each breakthrough was shared instantly across global networks. The military began training in new, unconventional ways. Soldiers learned to fight using predictive AI systems. They practiced tactics that were unpredictable and fluid. Traditional military doctrines were thrown out. Survival required creativity. Satellite networks were upgraded. Communication systems were reinforced. Every possible vulnerability was identified and strengthened. The humans were preparing not just to defend, but to counterattack. J. Park knew that their biggest advantage was adaptability. Humans could think creatively, change quickly, and work together in ways the alien civilization might not understand. The Zentari saw humans as a single, predictable species. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In underground bunkers, weapon prototypes were being tested. Hannah Lee's team created weapons that could reconfigure themselves mid-battle. Electromagnetic systems that could disable alien technology were developed in record time. Yoon Kim's AI systems began developing communication disruption protocols. If the aliens tried to use their advanced technologies against humans, they would find themselves fighting against an intelligent, adaptive network. The global response was coordinated but decentralized. No single point could be easily destroyed. Each city, each research facility, each military base was preparing in its own unique way. The Zentari would not find a single, easy target. Schools and universities shifted their curriculums. Students were taught emergency protocols. Entire populations were being prepared mentally and physically for what might come. Psychological warfare teams studied alien communication patterns. They prepared strategies to confuse and disorient the incoming invasion force. Every potential weakness would be exploited. J. Park looked at the global preparation with a sense of grim satisfaction. They were ready. Not just militarily, but as a species. The Zentari thought they were coming to conquer a weak, divided planet. They were wrong. As the days passed, the preparation continued. Each hour made humanity stronger, more unified, more prepared. The alien probe continued its surveillance, completely unaware of the storm that was brewing beneath its sensors. The brutal truth was being prepared. And when it arrived, the Zentari would never see it coming. The world waited. Prepared. United, the first wave of Zentari ships descended like metallic nightmares through Earth's atmosphere. Their energy weapons charged, creating brilliant purple-blue streams of destructive power that illuminated the sky. Commander Kurlvex watched from his command ship, expecting a quick and total surrender. J. Park stood in the underground command center, his hands steady on the control panel. Around him, military personnel moved with precise, calculated movements. They had been waiting for this moment. The initial alien attack targeted major cities. Massive ships dropped smaller assault units into urban centers, expecting minimal resistance. Their advanced sensors suggested complete technological superiority. They believed humans would scatter like insects. They were wrong. The first electromagnetic pulse hit the alien formations within seconds of their landing. Entire squadrons of Zentari ships suddenly lost power, dropping from the sky like heavy stones. Human fighters, using unpredictable flight patterns, weaved through the alien formations. Hanaley's adaptive weapon systems came to life. Defensive technologies that could reconfigure in milliseconds created invisible shields around critical infrastructure. Where traditional military defenses would have failed, these new systems held strong. Yoon Kim's AI networks began their assault. Communication channels between Zentari ships became scrambled. Their own technologies were turned against them, creating confusion and chaos. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't predict or understand. In Tokyo, Los Angeles, London, and Moscow, the same pattern repeated. Human forces used terrain, creativity, and unexpected tactics. They weren't fighting a traditional war. They were fighting a psychological battle that the Zentari couldn't comprehend. Military units moved like liquid, changing formations faster than the alien targeting systems could track. Every lost unit was immediately replaced by a backup system controlled by intelligent AI. The humans were treating the entire planet like a single, adaptive organism. Commander Vex watched in growing horror. His tactical screens showed increasing losses. The humans weren't just defending. They were actively pushing back, using technologies and strategies that defied conventional warfare. "We are not your prey," Jay Park's transmission cut through the alien communication channels. His voice was calm, almost casual. "We are humanity." The Zentari had conquered hundreds of civilizations before. They had specific protocols for planetary invasions. But nothing in their historical records had prepared them for this level of resistance. Urban areas became battlegrounds of unexpected complexity. Civilians worked alongside military units, using local knowledge and improvised technologies. Every street, every building became a potential weapon against the invaders. Adaptive camouflage systems made human forces nearly invisible. Weapons that could change their electromagnetic signature mid-attack confused alien targeting systems. The Zentari found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to change the rules of engagement with every passing minute. Satellite networks coordinated global defense efforts. No single area was left vulnerable. As one region defended, another prepared to counterattack. The humans moved as a single, unified force. Commander Vex realized something terrifying. This wasn't just a battle. This was a species fighting for its entire existence. And they were doing it with a level of creativity and determination that was completely unexpected. The first invasion was turning into a nightmare for the Zentari. What they thought would be a simple conquest was becoming a fight for their own survival. Jay Park allowed himself a small smile. The brutal truth was being revealed. Humans were not a species to be conquered. They were a force of nature. The battle continued, with no clear end in sight. But one thing became absolutely clear: the Zentari had made a terrible mistake. They had chosen to go to war with humans. The human counterattack began like a silent storm. Jay Park coordinated global strategies from the underground command center, his fingers moving across holographic displays with surgical precision. The Zentari invasion had given humanity something they rarely experienced: complete global unity. David Rodriguez tracked alien supply lines using advanced satellite networks. Each discovered route became a potential target. The humans weren't just defending anymore. They were hunting. Hanaley's engineering team had been working non-stop. They had reverse-engineered captured alien technology faster than anyone thought possible. Weapons that could disable entire Zentari squadrons were being produced in secret facilities around the world. The first strikes were strategic and surgical. Human forces targeted communication relays, disrupting Zentari command structures. Entire alien fleet sections went dark, cut off from central control. Commander Vex watched in growing panic as his invasion force began to fragment. Yoon Kim's AI systems had become something beyond simple computer networks. They anticipated alien movements, predicted communication patterns, and created chaos within Zentari technological infrastructure. Each alien system became a potential vulnerability. Military units moved like liquid across different terrains. They used captured alien technology, adapted it, and turned it against its original creators. Urban centers became complex battlegrounds where every street, every building became a potential weapon. The global counteroffensive wasn't just military. Economic systems were weaponized. Global communication networks sent coordinated signals that confused and disrupted alien systems. The humans were fighting a war on every possible front. Satellite networks became weapons. Communication channels were transformed into psychological warfare platforms. The Zentari found themselves fighting an enemy that changed tactics faster than they could understand. Commander Vex realized something terrifying. The humans weren't just defending. They were systematically dismantling the Zentari invasion force. Every captured piece of technology became a new weapon, every lost battle a learning opportunity. Research facilities worked around the clock. Scientists shared information instantly across global networks. What one team discovered was immediately implemented by another. The humans were learning and adapting at an impossible speed. The counterattack moved beyond Earth's atmosphere. Human spacecraft, modified with reverse-engineered alien technology, began striking Zentari supply lines. They weren't just defending their planet. They were taking the fight to the enemy's territory. J. Park understood that this was more than a military operation. This was a species proving its worth. Every strategy, every movement was designed to show the Zentari one brutal truth: humans were not a civilization to be conquered. Military units used terrain, local knowledge, and unprecedented creativity. Where traditional military doctrines would fail, human adaptability succeeded. The Zentari found themselves fighting an enemy that rewrote the rules of engagement with each passing hour. Psychological warfare became as important as physical combat. Transmitted messages created doubt and confusion within Zentari ranks. They were fighting an enemy that understood their weaknesses better than they understood themselves. The global response was decentralized but coordinated. No single point could be easily destroyed. Each city, each military base became a potential launching point for counterattacks. The Zentari invasion was being systematically dismantled. Commander Vex's tactical screens showed increasing losses. Entire fleet sections went dark. Communication networks collapsed. The invasion force that had seemed so powerful just weeks ago was now falling apart. As the counterattack continued, something became clear. This wasn't just a battle for survival. This was humanity's declaration to the universe: we are not victims. We are survivors. The brutal truth was being written in the stars. Humanity had arrived. And they were here to stay. The final battle was not just a military engagement. It was a complete psychological demolition of the Zentari civilization. Commander Kurl Vex watched in silent horror as humanity dismantled everything his species had believed about conquest. J. Park stood on the observation deck of the Global Defense Headquarters. The last Zentari ships were retreating, their once mighty formations now broken and scattered. Earth had become something more than a planet. It was a fortress. David Rodriguez coordinated the final stages of the counteroffensive. Global military units were now equipped with technologies that combined human creativity with captured alien systems. Each weapon, each strategy was a testament to human adaptability. The losses had been significant. Major cities were damaged. Millions had died. But humanity had survived. More than that, they had transformed. Hanalei's research teams were already analyzing captured Zentari technology. What once seemed impossible was now a blueprint for future development. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had leapfrogged centuries of technological progress in weeks. Yoon Kim's AI systems had become something beyond simple computer networks. They had learned, adapted, and evolved during the conflict. The aliens had brought advanced technology to Earth, and humanity had absorbed it like a sponge. Global communication networks broadcast a simple message across Zentari communication channels. It was short, direct, powerful. We are humanity. We adapt. We survive. The aftermath was more than a military victory. It was a fundamental shift in how the universe would view human civilization. No longer were they a primitive species to be conquered. They were a force to be respected. Research facilities around the world began studying captured alien technology. Universities created entire new departments focused on extraterrestrial studies. The invasion had transformed human society at its core. Commander Vex's final transmission was a broken message of defeat and warning. The Zentari Collective would never again view humanity as a weak civilization. They had learned their brutal lesson. J. Park understood that this was more than a war. This was humanity's declaration to the universe. They were not just survivors. They were architects of their own destiny. The global defense protocols were immediately established. Humanity would never again be caught unprepared. Every technological advancement, every scientific breakthrough would be viewed through the lens of potential alien threats. Cities began rebuilding. But they weren't just reconstructing. They were redesigning. Military-grade adaptive technologies became part of everyday infrastructure. Every building, every system was now prepared for potential future conflicts. Schools started teaching a new curriculum. Children learned about the invasion, about human resilience, about the importance of unity and adaptation. The conflict had become more than a historical event. It was a defining moment for the entire species. Space exploration programs received unprecedented funding. Humanity was no longer content to wait. They would now actively explore, prepare, and if necessary, defend. The Zentari had come looking for a quick conquest. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Commander Vex's final report to the Zentari leadership was simple and devastating. Humanity was not just a civilization to be conquered. They were a species that would change the very nature of galactic interaction. As the last alien ships disappeared from Earth's sensors, a new era began. Humanity had proven something fundamental. They were not just survivors. They were conquerors. The brutal truth had been revealed. And the universe would never be the same again.